So, I hate tents. It's no real secret, but I'm definitely going to elaborate why in this video. Normally when I go camping, I use my 6-wheel drive Land Rover Parenti ambulance, which I also have a 4-wheel drive of. It's parked in the windy driveway. Now, this video is a windy one, and that's part of why I hate tents again. Anyway, normally when my apprentice comes with me, my daughter, she camps in the detached abode, which is this number 5 military trailer with a rooftop tent. Now, recently she's decided we want to go camping and bring some friends along. So I'm putting the 6-person Annexe up, which is, the trailer is just a little bit short for this. It took me basically a whole afternoon to bash the tent pegs in, even though it's not a very difficult job. With multiple sclerosis, the whole getting down, standing up again, all that stuff, and I'm 6'6". It just knocks the stuffing out of me. There's also this whole scenario of why these two poles are different lengths. I need to figure that out too. Something's not right in the way this is set up. I got this for a good price, but the thing is it came with no instructions and things are a bit of a mystery to me. I also forgot to zip it up last night and it got full of water. So there's that problem to solve as well. So we've got a bit of an idea. We need to fix some tent ropes. So I've got a pile of screw pegs, 13mm socket, and some more poly rope. And poly rope is different from paracord because poly rope is braided all the way through instead of having this stupid stranding stuff on the inside. Order of duty here, fix that problem. That's what our 13mm sockets for. On hindsight, we're going to do it up that way. Alright, much better peg. If you want to peg stuff, that's the way to do it. Alright, we've got all our pegs in. Next little quality of life job, we're going to undo this thing and we're going to put a couple of these little carabiners on here. These aren't exactly the strongest things, but they're probably stronger than this, the stitching on the back of this. So if they'll hold stronger than that, it really doesn't matter beyond that. And to be honest, I'd rather these pull open and bust before they rip the tent apart. So we'll see how we go with that. Right, this idea I like a lot more. Much easier, and I don't have to worry too much about rolling the pegs up or rolling the ropes up. And if I happen to bust a rope like I have now, it's a much quicker job in the field or in the middle of the night when it's pissing rain. I can sit inside the tent, make up a new rope, come out and clip it straight on. Now on this side, this is the factory knot. If I give that a bit of a poke, it just falls off. So I'm glad I'm paying attention to this now. Now this here is why I'm going to replace all of these ropes. It's falling apart. In either case, I'm going to do this up so it doesn't fall over while I'm making the new ropes up. Also notice the top of that pole is poking up there, even though it's in a little pocket. This is, when I used to do tents, they'd put an eyelet in and the pin on the end of the pole would go through the eyelet. So a bit of a poor idea. Maybe the post's meant to go the other way up. I don't know. Okay, so I've made my life just a little bit quicker with the ropes. So now these are all secured with the good tent pegs, and we've got a clip on. So what I can do now is make a rough estimation of how much rope I need. I can make up some new tent ropes. These are things my father made, and he puts a spring in the bottom which helps with the constant wind racking. It doesn't tear your tent apart so much. A very simple idea with a wood block. I will be reusing those. However, the stupid little plastic things that are supposed to roughly imitate that, I find these things insanely frustrating. They're a cheap solution and they work very cheaply. It's very hard to get a good tension on your rope. Without spring on there, they sort of rely on the stretch of paracord to do the job. So we'll get on replacing these, and I may try and find a better solution. It might be that I just tie a prusik hitch on here, and that might work well. And I'll show you what that is later. Alright, next thing to do is roll all my rope out in the sun and make sure all the twists are out before I start actually using it. Got my favourite lighter that my missus bought me, my double jet lighter here. Gonna need that because it's poly rope. Got my rope here. I'm going to do the ends in a minute, but I worked out I had 1, 2.5 was my average length plus a little bit of extra tail, and I've got that on 2 lengths of rope. So that's 1, 2.5. That's about my length of rope. I don't worry about technical measurements in the field because it doesn't mean a lot. So we're just going to heat the end of our rope up here, and we want it to look roughly like this. So what they're going to look like when you cut them is a bit like this. If you leave it like that or tie a knot, it's going to continue to fray. So if at all possible, use a lighter. You don't have to use a jet lighter, you can use another one, or a flame over your fire, or a hot rock or something. The reason I like this one is I can roll it along the brass backing of this lighter, and I can clean all that up instead of having the little sharp bits on the end, and that makes it much easier to thread through. For the record, a prusik hitch, if you loop it through your tent peg at the other end, so imagine we've got one of these and it's looped through like that, okay? What you do here, and this is a friend of mine, Adam, taught me this. So you go through and you do 2 loops before your knot. Let me pull this up so it's easy to see. So you've got 2 loops like this, okay? Then you cross back over and you go the opposite direction for 2 loops. And you can do 3 if you really want a bit more grip. And I'll show you why this is an awesome knot in a minute. Let me push all this up. Alright, this knot is much easier to tie when you have tension on this main rope. So see the loop we've got here? Now you can push this and slide it up, but if it pulls on that direction, it's going to hold really tight. Crucially, you can slide it the other direction and it'll still hold tight. So you can loop that through your tent peg and you can pull it up tight, and that knot will hold just fine. So that is probably a much easier alternative than one of these. And I can do this in the dark, mostly because I've had to about 1 billion times. Now for the other end, I'm going to do a knot that most people will tell you don't tie because it'll never come undone. That's the reason we want to do it. We're going to make a loop, we're going to go around, then we're going to push that loop back through the doubled up one that we made, and then we're going to pull it tight. Once that gets tight, you're going to need a pair of pliers, or you might even just need to cut it off. But that will go really good, and I'm going to hook that through the clip at the top. Makes almost a permanent knot there. Okay, trying to do this without a tripod is challenging, but we can usually pull that through one-handed, and there's our loop on the top. Here's our loop on the bottom. We'll pull that through, put her into gentle mode. You've got to make sure this little twisty bit stays in the right spot, but there we go. Right, we redid that off camera. There you go. Now we can tighten it up. And tightening up, we're going to pull some tension on it. We'll pull this rope through. Now we can just work it all the way up like this till it's nice and tight. There we go. It's not glamorous. We can tighten that knot up and put a couple more loops in, but that's pretty much how we get our tent rope up. A lot more compact too. Right, and that's our 2 main ropes done. This one's sitting out a little bit. We will tighten all these up. Either way, that's our 2 main ropes done. We're going to do these 4 next, but I've got groceries to unpack, so I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, we're down to fixing these things, and we're just going to cut them off because the rope is old. So we're going to rip this all out, and that is our old rope gone. This is our new rope already with the loop in the end. So now we're going to go through one side, loop back to the other, and then we're just going to tie ourselves a couple of knots in the end here. So I can tie myself a knot that I don't know the name of, but it works and it won't pull through. And I should have done, before I did that, I should have put it through the spring that's down here. The problem with some knots is, yeah, when you do them properly, you're going to need a pair of pliers to get them undone. The advantage to the clips is when you're replacing ropes, you can put your new one on while you're working on your old one and not have your tent fall over. Okay, now we've replaced our old rope. We can just pop our old rope off and leave our new one on. Looking good. Now, when you're unrolling these rolls of rope, there's an end tucked in both ends here, like so. You've got to work out which one's the fake one, which one's the real one. It's hard to do one-handed, but the real one should come out easy like that. The other one is literally the other end of the rope, and the end is buried right in the middle. So we're going to roll all this out, take all the twists out, lay our second roll out in the sun. Right, so I just took a look at the weather forecast. Let's get out of the wind a little bit. So I just took a look at the weather forecast. We have more rain on the way. So I'm going to take a towel here and I'm going to dry up some of that water. Then we're going to pack it all up. I do like the fact that I can stand up in here, but yeah, I think I'm going to take this all down before it tears apart. When I roll this up, I'm not unzipping the floor. I have the whole base of that trailer to pack it in. I'm not even going to attempt to try and fit it back in the factory bag. I think I've got a barrel bag somewhere that it might fit into, so we might try and pack it into that. But this floor was a pain to try and zip up, so it's staying zipped up. Alright, so I missed the boat. It started raining again, so I've just zipped it all up. Try and keep the water out. I did get the towel in and dry out the water that was inside, which is a step in the right direction. I'm going to hang on to the old plastic things, put them in my spares box. But I am so jack of this wind, I think I'm going to call it quits for this video, and I'm going to go inside for a couple of hours. Hopefully there's a tent left by the time I get back. See you in a less windy video, hopefully.